Hi guys, it's me again, Kez, from Harmony in My Shed, or somebody called me CD Kez, or CD Kez. Never really got to the bottom of that one. But anyway, this video is all about records that have been with me since the very beginning. I did, well, from when I was a teenager. I did one a few weeks ago about the Sex Pistols, and never mind the bollocks. And they probably think that people of a certain age, that's most people's go-to record that they play to death when they were teenagers. Like, so I thought I'd carry on with that theme for the next one, which is Stiff Little Fingers, Inflammable Material. Actually, this is the four CD box set thing with all the gubbins, loads of pictures, loads of like reading stuff, and it's got the original album on it. It's got the 1978 demos, uh, and it's got all the Peel sessions on there, and a live set from Troon, from 1979. Um, but obviously, I'm talking about the original uh, vinyl album which I had. I have no idea where it's gone. It was one of those albums that I used to hawk around all the parties that we used to go to. I mean, when just as you left school, 16, 17, you used to get invited to a lot of parties, like the school leaving parties. And they were all people who were into not, like it wasn't the punk stuff that I was into or metal or whatever. It was the child stuff, which is fine. I ain't knocking it, like. But I thought I used to bring this album to a party and Overkill by Motorhead just to shake things up a little bit. Um, and I think that over the years, I know that Overkill got lost. No idea where that went. And this album sort of went the same way. So I don't know where that was. I don't know where it is. And I haven't had it for about 45, 50 years. 40 years, sorry. Anyway, let's go back to the album. One of my favourite albums ever for punk albums, because I think that with Inflammable Material, to me, it's proper how I used to look at proper punk rock. It's angry, it's very passionate, and when you put the record on and you play the record, you can actually feel the aggression. You can actually feel I wouldn't say hatred because that's the wrong word to use for SLF, but you could feel everything, every single emotion that Jake Burns was singing. I mean, amazing voice. Like Noddy Alder on steroids. It's a wonderful, wonderful voice. And the lyrics were absolutely out of this world to me. I mean, I don't really remember, but I do remember the troubles in Northern Ireland. And I also remember the stuff that happened in Birmingham and all that like. But obviously, nothing compared to what the Portsmouth had to put with over there. But that's another story. Anyway, I think that Inflammable Material is 41 minutes and 8 seconds of just pure aggression. Um, every single note, like I said, every single note, every single word, and then guitars that just like somebody set fire to them, which is rather strange considering the album's called Inflammable Material. There you go. I remember the very first time I ever heard SNF, actually, which is unusual. Not because it's SNF, like because I remember the first time I ever heard one of their songs, and it was Suspect Device, and it was played on Annie Nightingale's show on BBC Radio 1. Back then, you had Annie Nightingale, which I think she was on like 8 o'clock until 10, and then you had Peely afterwards, John Peel. And I can remember sitting in my mum's front room, sorry, in the kitchen, having our tea, and I used to put the radio on, some music and stuff. And I can even tell you what I was eating. It's corned beef, egg and chips. See, there's a revelation for you. Who'd have thought it? Good old 1970s meal. Anyway, this song came on the radio, Suspected Voice. I thought, blimey, that's a bit raucous. So, and then as she played the song, she said that that's Stiff Little Fingers' new single. I thought, I'm going to go purchase that. So I did. Anyway, I got the record from Virgin Records in Birmingham. Got home, thought, oh, this is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. And then I played the B side. No, that did it for me. This Wasted Life. And it's probably one of I'd say, it's in my top 10 favourite songs of all time. Just everything about that song is perfect. To me, everything about that song is perfect. And I was hooked. So, but the thing was, it was about like 1979. I hadn't quite left school at this particular point, and didn't have any money. And so when I got my first job, which is a YOP scheme, if people remember YOP scheme, I went to work at a bakery, as you can see. And I think my second or third week's wage, my mum let me have my first week's wages. I remember that, and I actually went out and bought Inflammable Material. So that was the first record I ever bought with my own money was Inflammable Material, which is also a great memory as well. Um, and after that, they started to appear on television, Top of the Pops, stuff like that. And I noticed Jake's guitar. It was a Yamaha SG 2000. And I didn't know that at the time. I just thought it looked pretty good. So, around about 1980, when I left school, and I joined my first band when I was 16, and I had this crappy old Woolworths satellite Les Paul copy, which was fantastic actually. But I thought, no, if I'm going to play in a proper band, I'm going to get myself a proper guitar. And I looked all over Birmingham, went to all the music shops in Birmingham, looking for this Yamaha SG. No luck. And I thought, oh, well, whatever. Got my way. About 25 or 30 years later, I actually got one um, through a friend. And I remember getting the guitar thinking, oh, this is brilliant. And so I got it out of the case. I thought, that's a bit fucking heavy in it. And so I put it on and plugged it in. I thought, fucking hell, man, this was a bleeding ton. It was worse than a Gibson Les Paul for weight. Anyway, I played it and I thought, I'm not too sure about this. But I kept it. I kept it for a while. And it was one of those. I think Stuart Adamson from the Skids used to use one too. Probably somebody will correct me on that one, but I don't remember actually seeing him playing one. And it did have that particular sound, didn't it? And obviously I ain't got the right amplifier or something like because mine just sounded like every other guitar I'd ever owned. So that's another story. I first got to see SLF in 1981 on the Go For It tour. That was at Birmingham Odeon. My cousin got the tickets, and off we went. And I don't know about you guys, but back in those days, going to a gig was an all-day job. You know, you didn't leave the house at 5 o'clock and get straight to the venue, and off you went. We used to go at midday, and we used to get the train into Birmingham, and then get straight, go and find a decent pub, and we'd sit there for quite a long time supping. And so was the case with the SLF gig. And it was a pub on Temple Street in Birmingham, and I thought, it was called the Temple Bar. There was a pub next door called the Shakespeare. The Shakespeare had long gone, but the Temple Bar's still there, I think. There was the Temple Bar drinking, and all these punks were coming in from all over the place, all over the Midlands and whatever. Yeah, and it was absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. And gets to the gig. It's a bit. I don't remember much about the gig, but what I do remember was I had a green hat on, like a Benny hat, even Benny from Crossroads. Dead one for the teenagers. And I had this green hat, and it had a patch sewn onto it, the Buzzcocks patch. And I was rather proud of it. It's a horrible bleeding colour, but he got a muscle patch on it. Anyway, gets into the gig. Great. I remember all I can remember about this particular gig was the first song they played was Tin Soldier. Everybody knows the song, like he's got that bass line starting all off, and then they kick it with the guitars and the old placement, boom, wonderful. I don't remember much about the rest, but what I do remember was there was a lot of skirmishes and shenanigans down the front, where the security used to get particularly heavy with certain audiences, especially punks, and there was a bit of a to do. And I can remember Jake stopping the band playing. And he said, if you don't sort out the security, I will. I don't think Jake Bird the sort of chap you want to really wind up. And so he said, anyway, they got rid of the security and they carried on playing. Everybody just, went about their business. And I do remember at the end, don't ask me what song they played, probably Alternative All-Star, but the whole stage was just full of people. And I was sort of downstairs and I turned round and looked behind me and there was nobody there. All on the fucking stage. Uh, and to make matters worse, I lost my hat because the rush, when they came on after the encore, the rush to get to the front of the stage, I ended up getting on. I was about, I was nothing then. I'd been a slip of a lad. And, it's a bit different now, isn't it? But yeah, and so I lost my hat. And that's probably what sticks out in my mind the most was Tin Soldier, Jake Burns having a pop, and I lost my hat. The next time I saw them, I think it was December 1987, and if I'm not right, I think was that the reunion tour. Um, that was fantastic. That was the Hummingbird in Birmingham, the old top rank club of people in the know. That was great. Uh, it was just a greatest hits thing. One thing I do remember about it, the songs were played a little bit slower than what they used to be. Um, but anyway, it was still a great gig. And then the third time I saw them at the Genting Arena. Well, that's what it was called then. It's the NEC in Birmingham, the big NEC, and it's had about 25 names in the past 20 minutes. But back when I went to the CSLF, Buzzcocks, the Selector, and the Beat, it was called the Genting Arena, and it was an outside gig. I swear it was in a fucking car park somewhere. But they got a big stage at the end, and of course, I think I don't remember the running order of the bands, but I think Buzzcocks came on first, which I went to see. I was to be a big fan. But having Buzzcocks and SNF on the same bill to me was like, oh man. And even the Selector and even the Beat were great. I mean, I'm not I like Selector. I love that Scar stuff, But I hadn't gone there for that. But it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant day out. I think I do remember. It was like full of the front of the stage were full of blokes like me. Some have got less hair, some have got more hair, some have got more bulk, less bulk. But it was one of them, a load of 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 60, whatever, dancing around, pretending to be 18, like me. So I remember they came on. I don't remember what song they did first, but I remember hearing um, Safest Houses, which is one of my favourite records by them, off a Go For It album. I thought, well, this is rather jovial, I haven't been killed by anybody yet or stomped into the ground. Uh, I thought I quite enjoyed myself. And then all of a sudden, they played Wasted Life, which, as I mentioned before, my favourite SNF song. Fuck. It was like being in a tumble dryer. And I think I got to about the end of the first verse, I thought, I'm done. I'm absolutely done here. I can't. It was, you can imagine, can't you? I mean, great big blokes, just absolutely, the old front went crazy. So I decided to retreat to the bar, lick my wounds, and have a few pints. But it was great. All my memories of Stiff Little Fingers are happy ones. Brilliant. It, when they did that, I think that EP, oh mate, They did an EP anyway, and I can't remember what it's called. I really got it out of my head. They did this EP, and it was quite poppy. When your blood goes bump was on it, and anyway, that, and I thought, I think they've got to be poppy now. But they released an album called Now Then, and I think it was the last record they did before they originally split. And that's a fantastic record. It's a fantastic pop punk record. If anybody's into that power pop, pop punk, you've got to listen to Now Then. Anyway, going back to what I started with, Inflammable Material. Um, I used to be in bands. I think I've mentioned it before, and we used to do Wasted Life. We used to do it in rehearsals to warm up, even though it wasn't a punk band. And we used to do, sound checks and this, that, and the other, because I used to be the singer as well, and it's really good for the voice. If trying to sound like Jake Bones doesn't rattle things free, then nothing will. So anyway, there you go. Album number two, one of my favourite records of all time. One of the albums I've had since 1978. Inflammable Material by Stiff Little Fingers. Cheers, and I'll see you later.